And we're off. What a he absolutely me up, that lad. Tool. So this test is going to be trying to eradicate drifting. So when I'm recording audio, it's separate to the video, and I've experienced a fair amount of the audio going out of sync. So the objective tonight is to record on the external audio of 48 megahertz. The GoPro, I believe, this one, well, any GoPro, I think it films in so the audio side of it films at 48 kilohertz as well. I'm recording this at 2.7K and 30 frames per second. Now the GoPro, even though it's preset to 30 frames per second, supposedly is actually recording at 29.97 frames per second. So that's why supposedly after a given time, I think 15 minutes or so, the sync gradually drifts, so no longer stays synced with the video. So I'm trying to make it that I don't have to mess around with any additional software to correct it. I do use Final Cut Pro, and you're supposed to be able to just sync clips, as in audio and video, and it puts them together all good. Well, I've had problems with it. It's not good. It just doesn't seem to work. So I got thinking that if I record at 48 megahertz on the external audio, the Zoom H1, that the GoPro, the audio within the GoPro, when it's capturing sound and vision, that the sound is 48 megahertz. So then, if I then set my Final Cut Pro, the project, to 29.97 frames per second, then hopefully all will be well, no drifting, all being well. So that's the plan. So I'm just going to have an amble around, good 15-20 minutes, maybe even longer, to see how much audio and video I can capture. Now the possible negative to this is, I think it's the first time I've tested this GoPro running now and off the power from the bike. So I usually power the mic and the GoPro off the same source. It's a power pack I use, but for this one I have a USB lead I've rigged up to the bike, so it will only produce power once the ignition's on, and obviously when the bike's running it's not going to drain the battery then. So I'm hoping that by the time I've done this run around, the battery in the GoPro, because I've left the battery in, should charge up at the same time. Now the downside I've recently experienced is the Anker power core I have actually seems to be playing up a little bit. So when I turn it on and I rig up or plug in the Zoom H1N, the external recorder, the power bank has been turning off. So then I turn it back on again. Within a couple of minutes it's turned itself off. So then I've turned it back on again and it's turned itself off. So I do actually have some batteries which will be recording this audio now, but the batteries don't last overly long. I'm not sure how they last, maybe half an hour, and a similar time to what the GoPro battery would last as well. I think I get about 45 minutes out of a battery. Now I'm not worried about the battery on the GoPro because, as mentioned, it's being powered from the bike, so that's not going to be an issue. The issue may be with the power pack being temperamental. So I don't know whether this power pack actually has like intelligent charging, whether it knows there's some power, another power source going to the device, so it doesn't power the unit until potentially the power source, like batteries, start getting low, and then potentially the power core kicks in to then start powering the device, because it knows then that it's got low on power from the batteries. If it does that, that's pretty good, that's amazing. I doubt that what's happening, because the other day when I did a video I had a similar issue where the lead I'm using for the H1N Zoom is not actually the proper one. It's just a power cable, and I think it's the actual power cable that is temperamental. So once I get going and these traffic lights, and then once I get towards Trig, I'm going to pull up and just check what the power core is doing for this audio. As usual, you get caught at these lights, you're going to be here ages. It's a pain. And we're off. What a... He absolutely me up, that lad. Tool. What an idiot. If I catch him up, as in I'm just going to ride at the regular speed, he's going to get a mouthful. It's people like that that cause issues. He thinks he's probably done nothing wrong by just going straight through the lights, in between myself and a car, that is, and he probably thinks that's perfectly fine because he shot through. He made me jump. So once I get down by this roundabout, I'm going up the coast, by the way, the Old Coast Road, the scenic route, and as I turn up the coast there's a lay-by, so I intend to just to pull up there and check what this audio is doing in regards to its power source. Make your mind up, you're going left, you're going right. Car in front of me didn't know what he's doing, he's turning right but looked like he's going to turn left, like they do. So that's 2 dibs already, and I've only been going, what, 10 minutes if that. Okay, I could have pulled into the side there, but let's go into another lay-by along here. So I have a feeling that the Anker power core has turned itself off, and I'm not sure why it does it. A feeling it's a lead, but we'll see. Okay, just going in here for a moment. I don't know where that ladder actually went. I think he turned left at that roundabout I've just come from. I need it. Okay, so yeah, unit is off. It's still recorded because it's from the batteries, you see. But unit back on. It's definitely plugged in, correct. Most definitely so. So this audio shouldn't have been affected by anything. It is recording, and the unit's gone off again. Actually, I'll just plug it into a different socket. Maybe it's the socket it's playing up. So I'm just going to stay here a minute or two and see if it quickly turns off again. That must have been about 30 seconds before it was off. There's no point in me showing it to the camera because it's gone off again. There's no point in me showing it to the camera because you can barely see the lights on this. Now I've had this device. Yeah, it's just not having it. Oh, it's back on. So I bought this device maybe not 6 months ago. So I better check and find a different power source. A power lead. I'll actually look and see what lead should be for this H1 and then try that. This is only a test ride and a test on the audio, so just to make sure it's not going out of sync with the video. Pop! Temperature wise, it's gone up to 29 degrees and just turned 7 PM. I have been looking to try and find a way to actually mount this camera somewhere else. So I've been looking at tank, gas tank holders for like GoPros, for action cameras, and it looks like it wouldn't particularly fit on my bike because of the way the bike is with the cluster, you know, the display when you're looking at the time and so on. The cluster comes quite a way forward on the MT-07, and that would protrude well above the ball socket, the ball head of a tank mount. So that'd be no good. So then I've been looking to place the camera again in a similar area, central, and I haven't come up with a solution yet. I obviously have the chesty I use, so that's when you see videos of the bike, the cluster, my phone and the road ahead, and I quite like that perspective. So recording wise, 16 minutes in, so if there's going to be any drifting to this audio, to this video, then it'll be happening now, because apparently after roughly 15 minutes and you're filming continuously and recording continuously, that's when you do get drifting. And as I've mentioned before, the fix I've tried to do in Final Cut Pro doesn't work for me. Now what I was also doing beforehand with my audio from the Zoom H1 was actually recording at its best level, 96 megahertz at 24-bit, so that may have contributed to drifting as well. So as I've mentioned before, I've set the audio to record at 48 megahertz 24-bit. The GoPro is supposedly recording at 48 megahertz. I have pre-templated, if you like. That was a noisy party back there. I have pre-templated 2 projects in Final Cut Pro, where one of them is set for 30 frames per second. I'll see what that's like and see what drifting comes about with that, if any. and if there is some drifting, then I will try the other template, which is set for 29.97 frames per second. I'm also recording the resolution here at 2.7K 16.9 aspect ratio at 30 frames per second. This video will sound fine anyhow with the audio, because I'd have made it fixed to suit anyhow whatever I had to do, but I will put up on the screen what worked. So I have gradually made my way up to Hillary's. So today has been quite hot. We actually haven't ventured outside at all today. I think it was set for being 39 degrees today, which is quite hot. Tomorrow, where we plan to go on a ride, it's set to be about 29 degrees, so a whole 9 degrees cooler within 24 hours. We are in summer now in Perth, WA, and apparently the news was saying that last year in Australia it was Australia's hottest year on record, which isn't good. All these global warming deniers. Why is it getting so hot then, if it's not global warming? Yes, there's peaks and troughs with the way the world is as in a planet. We've had ice ages, and then obviously hotter spells as well. So some people say it's just natural heating and cooling of the planet. But why has it continuously got hotter and hotter for the last, say, 20, 30 years? Not every year, but on an average, the planet is hotter. And look at all the weather patterns now around the world. Not normal. And it's only until big countries, big nations like Russia, America, China get on board with it all, it's still just going to be a mess. It's okay, Joe Bloggs collecting his plastic and his aluminium tins and putting them into a bin for his council to come and collect it, and he feels better for that. But if the council are recycling that stuff, then what difference is it really making? Or B, the council come and collect it and then just put it into landfill, because that's what does happen in some places. I'm quite frustrated with all that, really. We try to contribute, me and my wife, with being as green as we can. We live in a city, so you know, we're all burning electricity, we're all buying food from supermarkets where packaging's a problem, plastic's a problem, but we do try to recycle glass, plastics, paper, the regular stuff. Is there really a point to it? As I mentioned before, where big nations, they're not bothered. Okay, so it's definitely getting cooler the further north I'm going. And we've dipped down to 26 degrees now. And it feels definitely cooler, like there's going to be a storm. The clouds ahead of me, which obviously you can't see, they're a bit darker. We are getting closer to sunset, but it looks like there might actually be maybe a little bit of rain. I doubt it, but they had forecast some rain I think earlier today, and there was some further down south of Perth, down towards Margaret River Way, which is around about a 3-hour ride from Perth. But it's really dropping back. It's still 26 degrees, but it feels really cool. The air's gone very cool. Alright, well, I'm going to turn around at this roundabout coming up, because I'll make my way back home. It's been 25 minutes now. I'm quietly confident that what I've done in preparations for this is hopefully going to work. I am quietly confident, because the reason why I was thinking about putting a mount more centrally and out, looking out, so you see a similar aspect, a similar view to what I have when the GoPro is on my chest, is that my natural stature on the bike, if you like, I lean. I hadn't realised that. To me, I'm sat perfectly upright and all good. And the times Catherine has been behind me and she said, you're leaning over to one side, or you're slouching. I hadn't realised that I did it. Don't know why. But I obviously, and it's actually a 4 degrees slouch or lean, because when I do the videos that you've hopefully seen in the past, I have to correct it by 4 degrees to make it look level. The GoPro I have is actually a GoPro 8, so it doesn't have the auto leveling the GoPro 9 has. But I've no intentions of getting a GoPro 9 as yet anyhow, because there's not much point for it really. There's not much difference between an 8 and a 9 really, apart from a couple of tweaks like that auto leveling. So yeah, so when I do my video I put them all together, all the segments, because the GoPro records in 4 gigabit segments. So I put all those into one stream of clips. Then I put them all together by compound clipping, they call it. So I make them all one big long clip, and then I have to change the angle. I recorrect it by 4 degrees to level it. So I was thinking, rather than doing that, it'd be nice just to have maybe a mount I could place on the tank, or somewhere just on the handlebars. But if anyone has an MT-07, they'll know how limited space is on the handlebar region. It's very busy. There's only a few areas you can place add-ons, whatever that might be, and the handlebars aren't very straight. They bend, as in less room to place things, especially when you look out or look into yourself without being on an angle. So it's quite restrictive. But I must have spent a fair bit of time trying to find a solution for getting some sort of mount which would be then straight and then just record. So yeah, I didn't find anything really. I thought I had one solution, I do, but it didn't work. I'm not going to go into details with that, but I spent a lot of time trying to find out a solution, but no go. So I will possibly stay as I am. Videos with the chest mount, and then some also I'll make more use of my second GoPro from where this is angled now as well. I'd like to get that to be more central as well. So again, I'd like to have a mount on the handlebar with this GoPro looking towards me, without having too much of an angle and looking back up and behind myself. I'd quite like to have something a little bit more flush and looking more squared onto me. Oh gee, there's a guy in a car ahead of me, can't do a U-ey. I'm to do a 3-point turn and blocking all the traffic off, an old deer. Look at them cars there, if you can see them being held up. How do people get their licenses? Alright, I'm gonna pull up actually, because there may be no audio to this now, because that battery might be getting flat, or the battery's getting flat on the zoom, and I've no confidence in this cable or the anchor being powered up at the moment. So where can I pull up? I'll just pull up into this street coming up here. So this has been the ramblings of a motovlogger. All the perils and hassles you can potentially have with trying to get decent vision and decent audio. The vision might not be too good behind me with the sun, so you might have a lot of sun behind the shot. Okay, let's have a look at this recording. So still recording, but battery on 2 bars now, that's the batteries, and yeah, the anchor charger is off. I don't know, I mean, I'm pressing and holding the thing down, not coming on, just press and release, it's come on. Okay, it's on now, so I'm just going to leave it be now. Last time I check on the audio, if it drops out as in no sound later on, so be it. I think I've plenty enough audio here. Okay. Still powering away is the old GoPro there, and it's saying "85% battery charge." So that's not so bad. It's not been going down anyhow. So the bike has been keeping it on a charge, powering it. That is okay. Alright, off we go. The sun will be setting actually in about 5 minutes. Let's go back down the coast. Might see a bit of colour in the sky as I turn up Trig to go back home, which is 3 minutes, 4 minutes away. So I'll have plenty of power now, I think, really. Zoom's been holding up really well actually. I thought maybe 30 minutes would be the before the batteries would run out. I did put brand new or recharged rechargeable batteries in there, so they were as full as could be, passing the noisy party there. You might not see it. I like to put videos out like this as well, to give you people a perspective of what's involved in a way by putting videos up. I mean, the straightforward videos, really mine are. I don't particularly do any special effects with anything or anything overly extravagant, but they do still take some time editing. And like I mentioned, with all that issues I've had with the drifting of the audio, that's made my editing time a lot longer. So any way you can improve things to make yourself more efficient is a good thing. That sun's away, I'd say still another 5 minutes about before setting. Time is it? 7:22 now. So yeah, as I was saying, it's nice to show some videos where it's a little bit like behind the sort of scenes sort of thing, where it's just not a matter of hitting record button and all's good and that's it. Anyone who will uploads videos to YouTube, or anyone who makes videos, editing, etc., know how time consuming and frustrating it can be. I enjoy doing it though. I mean, I do like putting videos together. It's just a matter of trying to be as efficient as possible. So hopefully as well this video will be of use to somebody, because I will have a solution, all being well, with the 2 methods I was going to be trying. I also have an app I was mentioning earlier on, that I didn't want to do it with an app, any software, but I do have some software which I won't mention now because I've got about 2 or 3 different ones that they may not all be successful, so it'd be pointless mentioning them yet. So I will again, if I go down the app software avenue and have success with it, I will put some info up as well on this video. And sunset in maybe another minute or 2. It's not far off setting now. I've also noticed when I've ridden and recorded footage around sunset time on the GoPro, you actually do see it sort of flick into, you know, like, basically if anyone knows anything about photography or general, I suppose, weather, where we have like a golden hour. So that's an hour of golden, real like nice golden soft light before sunset, and then when sun sets you go into the blue hour as and when like the moon rises, and you can actually see a shift in the colour. It might have happened now already in this video now, where it starts to shift from that sort of glowy sunsetty sort of hue to like the sky goes blue. I'm seeing it actually physically do it, where it's just as if it's a light switch. It's just, I've turned a corner or gone up a hill or something, like round here, and ping, it's just changed in the colour, and you can see the sky looking very, very blue. So I have rambled on a fair bit on this video purely for a lot of audio to go down, so then I can see any drifting issues. So I think the battery in the GoPro is still saying 85%, so it doesn't seem to have been charging the battery, but it certainly hasn't been depleting it. It's one of the best times to actually ride is this time of the evening, even though it's saying 29 now again on the clock, and the cluster 29 degrees. That's pretty warm, but it's still got a nice sort of flash of cool air in the atmosphere, so I feel really just nice and comfortable, not a problem. Oh, there's some lovely coloration in the sky ahead of me. I just wonder what it's like behind. Maybe there is some behind me. Stopping at the lights, I'll take a look what's behind me. Yeah, still very much sort of still on sunset looking over that way behind. It still looks quite blue and like a summer's day. Well, it is a summer's day, but still like a daytime. Whereas ahead of me, the clouds have some pinking now as the sun's setting. Yeah, there could be some very nice coloration in the sky. It's getting that way. Could be a nice sunset. I do believe the sun has set already, but I didn't check what time it was due to be setting. But it usually has by now, 7:32. I suppose it's a bit of an obsession of mine, is sunsets, because I do like to go out and photograph sunsets. I do, yeah, personally like to look at the sky. It's so different every night. If it's a cloudy, you know, sort of sunset, they're never the same. They're always different. And just having some nice scenery and then photograph a beautiful sunset as well, then that's nice photography in my book. Haven't actually been out photographing the sunset for a while. We don't tend to get cloudy or too much cloud in the sky in summertime. It does happen occasionally, so sunsets can be pretty average without those clouds, but tonight actually might be a decent one. And I do have an app and check and see what possibility of a sunset might be, but they're not very accurate. So it's a matter of looking out the window and thinking there's going to be some decent colour in the sky, and then heading off. I suppose I could have brought my camera with me and taken some photos, but this has been a bit of a geeky test ride more than anything else. Alright, home.